Feels
Oh,
legit.
hello. Let's go. Okay.
Feels legit.
Yeah. Hello and good afternoon. It's 5, right? It's still afternoon anyway. So
Yo, it's
welcome to the
5:10
geeky.
p.m.
Yeah, welcome to the geeky ones. And I'm Jude. Next to me is Steven, and this is episode
Hello.
86. So yeah, welcome to
Yep, yep.
our latest episode this Saturday. Um, our topic today is epic wrestling entrances, and this is a topic that we have talked about quite a lot, like on our Discord server and various wrestling chats,
Yep.
because we just always have a lot of wrestling is our one of our fandoms in here at the Geeky One. So it's just really awesome to see um wrestling entrances are like part of the whole presentation, and we're just enjoying them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they're just really fun. We're always we always love a crazy epic entrance, and now we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about 10 and a few honorable mentions, and we'll talk yeah, and those range from like whether or not it's like it's WWE entrances, Impact, and even some from Japan. So I guess we
Yep.
can get started with our first. We have a top 10 list, so that's my
Mm-hmm.
we picked. Me and Steven picked five. So we start with it's an alternating sequence of lists. So let's go. I will start with John Cena, Royal Rumble 2008, and Uh my god. Okay. Context. So Royal Rumble 2008 was in Madison Square Garden, if I recall.
Ah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was that one.
That one. Yeah, man. It's amazing.
And I love the presentation of Royal Rumble '08 because it didn't have the huge Titantrons, it didn't have the if the entrance area felt like, how you would go out in a basketball game, the dugout, how you go out of
Yes,
out of
exactly.
a basketball game, and that one made it cool. And during that time, Royal Rumble was on. Royal Rumble was nearing its end. I think it was entry number 30. Entry
Was he
number
30?
Yeah, it was. I think
Ah, okay.
John Cena was late, and
Let me rewatch it
John
right.
Cena was a surprise appearance because a few months back he was injured. I think it was a torn quad, torn pectoral muscle. I mean, torn pectoral muscle, and the recovery time for that was supposed to be longer. But we're talking about John Cena here, and uh, awesome.
He was number 30. Yeah, I double checked. He was
Yeah, it
number
was
30.
number 30, and really cool. Like, this was so crazy for me. Like, I remember watching this and then wondering, what, John Cena? like, I,
Yeah,
I
diba?
I know he was injured. I know he was out. So like when he appeared, it was surprising, and it was also surprising to see that he also appeared and he didn't get booed. Because
Oh, yes,
I
yes.
think
That's so
by
true.
'06 and '07, he gets booze. He gets heavy booze from the crowd already. Like, it was crazy. But for that time, people were happy to see him back, and it was different. It felt weird to hear that, but hey, eventually John Cena had a huge pop. The pop was just a huge. This is a kind of entrance that didn't need that much. It wasn't spectacular in terms of pyro presentation. We talk about John Cena entrances. We usually mention WrestleMania ones because WrestleMania ones are epic.
Yeah,
I
always. The
remember
CM Punk
WrestleMania
gangster
20,
entrance.
Chain Gang,
Hmm.
the Chain Gang mobster entrance with CM Punk on as
On the
one of
right,
the
on the right side of
mobsters.
the car, diba?
Get clone John Cena, the John Cenas. Yeah, doing just doing the you can't see me for like 5 minutes before Cena goes up the ramp. Yeah, and then
That
there
actually
was
felt like
the
an
weird
eternity, no?
what?
The John Cena entrance with like the Cena army was like felt like an eternity when everybody was doing that.
Yeah, it felt weird on that. But hey,
Yeah.
it worked so well. It was so good. And it was really great. But yeah, John Cena's Royal Rumble 2008 entrance may be short, but the pop or how epic it felt during the time and how surprising that he appeared just
Yeah.
for me made this entrance make the list. Yeah, just help put this on the list. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's it. So Steven, anything about this entrance
Okay.
before we move?
I had to rewatch it kasi nga ang ganda. I think the biggest part was that besides the fact nga that he was injured he was supposed to be injured and not make it. I think that was the point nga na nobody ever expected him to arrive. Nobody. Not a single person in Madison Square Garden thought that Cena was going to be there, whatever. He
Mm-hmm.
suddenly comes back from injury and then everybody's cheering. Oh my gosh, it's Cena, it's Cena, it's Cena.
It's
I mean,
Cena.
it's Cena, diba? I mean, it's crazy. Tapos, when you actually once he gets back in the ring and he starts hitting people, if you watch the clip again, the crowd starts booing him like a flip of a coin. Like in a snap of a finger, everybody starts booing him again. Like this was Super Cena era eh. So of course people are gonna boo him. But
Well,
we finally reached a point that nobody cares about, that era of Cena anymore. Because
ah,
we love Cena. Come on.
mhm.
But Taiwan does not love Cena.
Well, yeah,
Hmm.
he has to acknowledge. But yeah, worth
Yes.
noting that Derv said on our comments, hi Derv, from Wrestling After Work, he said nga that cheer, that pop came from a very smarky New York crowd. And, we know New York
Yeah.
crowds. I mean, we see Knicks fans. So that's,
Mocking
that's
Trey
how
Young and
jaded
then
they
Trey
can
Young
get.
getting their revenge.
That's how jaded they can get,
Yep.
dismayed they
Yep.
can get. And
That is true.
you saw it in full swing there. Yeah, I think I remember they did boo Cena. But yeah, let's start
Yeah.
with. But for now, let's move to our next entry, and this one is from good old TNA. So this is
Yes.
your entry.
Okay.
This is Samoa Joe
So,
Bound for Glory.
all right. So in Bound for Glory 2005, Samoa Joe was on this crazy undefeated streak for the longest time in
19
TNA.
months.
Months. It's a crazy streak. As in, I think Kurt Angle was the one to break the streak, tama ba?
Um, I
Can't
think it
remember who.
was, but it was
Yeah.
19 months, so he
Yeah, it was
was
crazy
not
long
losing to
at
anyone.
all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think Samoa Joe at the time was the perfect example of the X Division. It's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Alala ko pa rin yung tagline na yun ng TNA until today. Kasi
Yeah,
Samoa
and
Joe was the guy who lived up to that name.
oh wait, Steven, this is the Bound for Glory match that was TNA's only 5-star until now. Am I right? This is the
Talaga.
triple threat. Wait, this is the triple threat match, right? With
I
Daniels
think
and
so.
Styles.
No, that's from Unbreakable. This is
Ah,
Bound
okay,
for
okay.
Glory. Ito
Okay.
kasi meron siyang Samoan entrance, like a Samoan war dance entrance.
Oh yeah,
Kasi it
okay.
turns out his family ni Samoa Joe is mga dance performers. So he brought out his whole family to do a Samoan war dance. Fuck, that's so like he felt like a good guy for like a good 2 minutes. And then, pagdating ng match, you're like, oh shit, o nga pala, this is Samoa Joe we're talking about. I
Oh yeah,
think, I
really
think,
cool that his opponent was noteworthy, Jushin Thunder
Jushin
Liger.
Liger, yeah. Puta. Insane, man. Tama ba? I have to find it again. I have to double check. I have to double check if it was Liger.
Yeah, it
Kasi
was. I saw.
yeah.
It was also the opening match for
Grabe.
for
Grabe.
for the main card. So like, wow, that's actually interesting.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. It is Samoa Joe versus Jushin Liger. Tapos parang, I think Samoa Joe had to counter Liger's epic theme with his own like epic entrance because Samoa Joe's theme in TNA was catchy, but not Jushin Liger catchy.
Well, Jushin Liger. even
An
his
anime.
one-off WWE theme was pretty catchy.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
can't
that's
you can't
true.
not argue. And remember, Jushin Thunder Geiger is a Go Nagai creation
Oh
concept,
man,
right?
Mr.
So
Devilman himself.
the guy Devilman Mazinger Z, and
Yeah,
Mazinger
Mazinger
Z
Z. Yep.
has some of the best anime teams of
Yeah.
all time. So like it's catchy. Jushin Thunder Geiger is catchy as
Yes.
hell. So
Wait, baka tayo, ma-copyright strike tayo
we
nun.
can
Ingat.
only mention that little soundbite because that's like a few seconds. Anyway, that's
Yes. Or else King
unfortunate. But
Records
yeah,
will be on our ass.
Samoa Joe with his little Samoan family and
It's
nice war
amazing.
dance. I mean, this is pretty underrated because 2005 TNA was fun.
God,
05
2005
TNA.
TNA was like on another level. Like it was the time I realized na, wow, there is an alternative to WWE. Like that's
I
really
just
like
watched
the
this at
moment it
like
hit me.
Star World, if I'm right. Star
Yes, Star
World.
World on Friday nights, diba?
Yeah. So ayun, Star
Oh
World
man.
was my Star World. I think I was flipping channels and then I saw TNA wrestling on this time. I forgot what time.
Yes.
I think
Fridays 8 p.m.
it was either a Friday or Thursday. But yeah, I checked it. I think I was able to catch a replay, not the primetime broadcast. So when I saw it, like,
I
hey,
think they
what's
have like
this?
weekday broadcasts.
And then I think I was
Yeah.
introduced to the X Division pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I loved it already. Like I think I saw the Unbreakable. I saw Unbreakable kasi like
Oh my god.
I saw the Unbreakable 5-star match like as a kid.
Whew.
That until now it's something na
Speechless,
you
man.
just get shocked, you just get surprised. Your mind is always blown whenever you see that whenever you see that match. It's so good. And yeah,
It
it's a
leaves you
5-star
speechless. It
match.
leaves you
And
speechless talaga. It's like
it's free and you can watch it for free on Impact
YouTube,
Wrestling's
yeah.
YouTube channel. So like
Like, di
the
ba
best
ano,
thing.
I think we got lucky that there was a period na Impact Wrestling had to say sorry to the fans for being such a shit company to their veteran wrestlers. I mean, they kicked out AJ, they kicked out Rude, they kicked out all of
They
Team
kicked out
Canada. They
basically
kicked,
the guys they built. Austin,
yeah,
well,
all the
Austin
TNA
Aries.
originals.
Let's not talk about Austin Aries. I mean, Bobby Roode, essentially.
Pwede
James
pa.
Storm, you know,
Ah,
basically
Eric
Beer Money,
Young, man.
Beer Money
Yes, Beer Money,
Incorporated.
man.
Even Eric Young, diba, had to leave at some point.
Yeah. I
And
think Eric
even
Young was one of the
Sting.
last to leave.
Even Sting. Sting is not a TNA original,
Oh,
but he grew in TNA. He grew
yeah.
to become one of their best. Like,
Personally, yeah. Personally, I
Sting's
believe.
best versions are always out of WWE.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I'm not joking. TNA era Sting was the best Sting for me. Ah. Kasi ako,
Yeah, I
what's
mean
that?
that was
I did
veteran
not
Sting.
reach WCW Sting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I did
was
not reach
veteran
WCW
Sting.
Sting.
Yeah, I mean WCW
Hmm.
Sting kasi had two phases. Eh. He had the Surfer Sting, which was kind of cool,
Yeah.
diba? Kaso
Ting, ting.
he had to reinvent his character to be
Yeah.
to fit I think fit the 90s aesthetic. So he just ripped off the Crow,
True.
Bruce Lee. No, Brandon Lee.
It
Brandon
worked
Lee.
though. It worked.
Yeah, and it works so well
R.I.P.
that
R.I.P.
until
Brandon
now
Lee.
it has become his gimmick that we all identify with. Now, let's go
Yeah.
to our before we go to our next choice, we go and talk about our Comixology $10 gift card giveaway that's not sponsored by Amazon. So, Steven, explain this one.
All right. All right. So just help us reach 1,000 likes on Facebook by liking our page and commenting on the pinned post one comic book artist that we've featured on the podcast. And then on Twitch, just help us get to 100 followers. We're currently at 31 followers. So we're almost there. For Facebook, you do need to follow the steps of liking our page and commenting on the pinned post.
Yeah.
One comic book artist that we featured. But on Twitch, you just follow entered. We will select one winner each, and we will. If you win on Facebook, you cannot win on Twitch. So that's it. All
Yeah.
right.
No
That
double
is
entries,
500
boys.
pesos each. No double entries. Essentially,
Yeah.
like if yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. Now we go to number four. Number four is my pick. This is my number four pick.
Ooh.
Shinsuke
Mm.
Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 9. And no, this is not the one with the pole dancers entrance of Nakamura. This was his match against Kota Ibushi for the Intercontinental title.
Hmm.
And so I watched this match like I think a month ago, almost a month
Hmm.
ago.
Yeah.
And this was young Kota Ibushi, young and bright Kota Ibushi was just
Bright.
happy.
Bright.
Golden
Bright.
Star.
Yeah.
He's always that, the man. He's always happy, jolly. But young upstart, Kota like even his body wasn't like Kota Ibushi now na super built
Yeah.
and crazy ripped, right? But yun,
Mm-hmm.
that one was like Kota Ibushi went with that entrance, diba? He just so wholesome, happy, and then his opponent, of course, the champion, literally, uh, Shinsuke Nakamura appears like with the whole Titantron setup of Wrestle Kingdom back then, like King of Strong style, just rolling in and out of the screens, like okay, and then it's like legit business, and then Shinsuke Nakamura just comes out with just a crown and his usual getup, and it was just so intimidating. Because for me, that's like
Yeah, I remember the
you talk
crown.
about Japanese wrestling entrances to be like to feel like boss battles. This one felt like a boss battle for Ibushi because where your Ibushi was like still rising on during that time, diba? It was before he went to let's say the Cruiserweight Classic, and no, he went out of New Japan for a bit, and no, went back and to win G1.
Yep,
This was
that's true.
young upstart Ibushi, but the facing of like veteran Nakamura, peak king of strong style, na this is like the Nakamura that finally clicked after like his early run na he had no character. Like I'm sorry,
Hmm.
like Nakamura is a great wrestler, but without his king of strong style persona, he wouldn't be as well known or like as well liked as now. So that was really cool.
Hmm.
And of course, the match itself is a banger. I think it's like I'm not sure if it's a 5-star match if you follow those scoring things, but it was a wild train wreck of a match, and it was also the time that Kota Ibushi tried the Bomaye or the Kinshasa for the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
he tried his own version. He did the Yao, like like what Kota Ibushi does now in tribute to Shinsuke. That was actually that's where he found it. The reason why he's like respecting Nakamura is because he got destroyed by Nakamura in the end of that match. Anyway, we go on to Steven's fourth entry. This is essentially this is sixth. Let's go.
Yeah.
Here's our fourth entry. Okay.
Okay.
AJ Styles in Royal Rumble 2016. This was the famous New Japan WWE match because it
Yeah.
just felt like it against John
Okay.
Cena. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Steven, your turn.
So, what made this match so good? Well, not the match, the entrance, I mean, is that I think everybody knew that AJ Styles was coming, but they just didn't know when. Because when a wrestler from New Japan leaves for WWE,
Oh wait,
there is
wrong
no
Royal
like
Rumble on my mind. I'm
waiting.
sorry.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, that was 2017 on my
Um,
mind. So
the Royal Rumble. Yeah,
16 was
okay.
his debut, right?
So, yes, yes, yes. Royal Rumble 2016 was his debut in Orlando, Florida. So we are talking AJ Styles sort of coming home to, the home of Impact. which was Orlando, Florida. For the longest time, people associated AJ Styles being Mr. TNA, and then he goes to New Japan, becomes IWGP Heavyweight Champion twice.
Yeah.
Like
Beats
they
Tanahashi
JPW
and
knew.
Okada.
Yeah, again beats Tanahashi and Okada. Like, see, but who else can say that? Kenny. I
Um,
know. Yeah, Kenny has beaten Tanahashi, but
Kenny,
not for the heavyweight
Naito.
title. Naito, Jay White, diba? It's like
Very rare.
very rare. So AJ Styles is part of such a rare club. But anyway, going back to the context, around January 4, after January 4, it was the time that AJ Styles left, Shinsuke Nakamura left, and then I think soon after, Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows left as well. So there were these like rumors and everything na, AJ Styles is going to WWE, Shinsuke Nakamura going to WWE. Pero parang I didn't Shinsuke Nakamura, so I was more excited about Styles at the time.
Mm.
And they were showing footage before this na parang, oh look, here comes the New Japan, like the mass exodus from New Japan. It's like, oh shit, all their stars are gone or whatever. And then all of a sudden Kenny Omega happened, but that's another story. AJ Styles, his entrance was amazing because nobody was expecting him to be there. I
Yeah.
remember I was still in my part-time job before, so I had some free time on Monday mornings. Like I took a leave for this, for the Royal Rumble because I had the gut feeling that AJ Styles was going to be in the Rumble. So when the buzzer rang, and then this unknown music started playing, I was wondering, like, is this AJ? Is this gonna be AJ? And then the biggest, worst moment ever in WWE because of stupid Kevin Dunn trying to put his focus on Roman Reigns instead of the Titantron, was the music was playing, and then you start hearing cheers. It's like, who is it? And then Roman Reigns' face is just on the screen. The worst angle ever. You don't get to
So
see
yeah,
AJ
they
Styles
actually
until
had
he's
to
out of the ramp.
re-release the debut video. Remember?
Yes! They had to re-release the entrance video kasi they didn't notice na AJ
It
Styles
was
was already out.
cutting. Just it was cutting to
Yes.
just Roman Reigns' face, which was kind of
Yeah,
weird.
exactly. You had to go to YouTube to find the full video, and then I think what's weird was kasi nga the first thing AM. And then you remember, oh nga no, who does that in WWE? Remember, oh shit, that's like part of his theme song in TNA, diba? You are, I am. And then it says, I am. And then the screen just flips to I am phenomenal. It's like, holy shit,
Yeah,
it's
you would never
real.
expect,
Mr.
diba?
TNA. Unexpected
And
sobra. It's like,
and he
here's,
went to WWE and beat Cena and
yeah,
became a two-time
beat
WWE
up John Cena.
champion, almost the same way that he became two-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and now he's a Grand Slam in TNA and WWE. Like, wow,
And
crazy
grabe,
career.
no? Who else can say
Like,
that you're a Grand Slam in two of the
um,
biggest companies in the
I
world?
think the only other Grand Slam. I no. Wait, Kurt
Christian?
Angle counts. Kasi
No.
Kurt Angle is
Ah,
part of the old
yeah.
Grand Slam. The old WWE Grand Slam format works naman. So, yeah,
Hmm.
Kurt did it the other way around. AJ did it reverse, 'di ba? Did it TNA and WWE. So, which is kind of for me
Yeah.
surprising
TNA
kasi
WWE.
I never expected WWE to love AJ Styles as much as they did. Until now, they still love him. He has
Mm.
almost now.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
even though he's
almost
retiring,
huge.
he's close to retirement as the years go by. We have to face it. Na
Yeah.
he's not gonna. He's
He
still
doesn't fly as
athletic,
much.
but when he does it, it's
Yeah.
still really good. But yeah, AJ Styles, Royal Rumble 2016. That's where his WWE career started, and yeah, people loved it. People love this, and until now, it's one of the better runs from an Impact guy. Actually, it's the best run for an Impact guy. anywhere. Okay, before we go to our next entry, let's talk about a little thing, something from our
All
friends at
right.
Shopee.
Okay, so tomorrow is Shopee's payday 15. If you've been hearing that jingle is Gonzago on your YouTube cookies or your Instagram or your social media, or maybe you still radio. To remind you, is
Mhm.
Shopee's August 15 payday sale. So get extreme discounts, vouchers, cashback, and much more. Use our link tinyurl.com/Shopee and check out your cart using URL. And we get a small portion of sale to keep this podcast running. So that is
Always
it for
awesome to see.
Shopee. Yep.
Okay, now we go for our next set of entries, and mine first is Undertaker in
Ah.
WrestleMania 21. Okay, for context, before Mania 21, I think Undertaker for the most part was was still was like transitioning from American Badass back to his dead man gimmick. And
Mm-hmm.
Mania
That is
21 was
true.
against Randy Orton, and this was the time when they actually mentioned that he had a streak. I mean, they didn't mention it for the first 12, and now they mention it when they went on his 13th match against Randy Orton. Randy Orton was on his legend killer phase, which was really actually a good run. Despite na I was kind of disappointed that he never won a world title as the legend killer, which is kind of
Hmm.
weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
Randy Orton, the youngest world heavyweight champion, goes face off against the undefeated Undertaker, and then all of a sudden, we see the dead man. And I think the one get up here, one of the things I like in his mid 2000s get up um was on his 2000s get up as the dead man. What he wore was like a fusion of his usual dead man look plus a bit of American badass elements. I think makita may
Yeah.
American Badass on his tights, on part of his
Yes.
tights. Some of
Yes.
the
Yes.
symbols, 'di ba, medyo biker, yung biker taker pa, the American Badass taker symbols are still there. But yeah, the fact that he fused
Hmm.
those seamlessly into his dead man, like, is really great kasi it's a callback to his to his history and past kasi he was just an undead mortician early career, 'di ba? He's a freaking
Pretty much.
zombie.
Pretty
You
much.
remember, he was a zombie in his debut
Hmm.
when WWE was WWF pa. Like people forget that he was a zombie. But yeah, eventually they had to go from he went from like cult leader here from biker gang guy, and now he's back to being a dead man. You know, and to a man of mystique in a way. A man of supernatural mystique. Guy who can summon lightning and bury people in concrete. But yeah,
Oh
really cool entrance,
yes.
and then this is one I think I forget. This is usually one of his entrances with druids. So like, yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
those. It's
Yeah.
one of
Mania
those.
always has the
He has a lot
druids.
of
Yeah.
druid entrances. This is one of the best ones. So yeah, we. But then yeah, Mania 21 Taker was really good, and yeah, I liked 2000's Undertaker. This is like I think for me this was the start of his best run in WWE match wise. I mean, we don't see Undertaker that much. I can't remember him wrestling on weekly TV, so that was one thing. He all he does on weekly TV is just shoot lightning, disappear, appear a bit, maybe hit a choke slam after lights out, but not much in
Yeah.
terms of match work. I think only Great Kali ata. Like one of those few matches where Great Kali just made his debut and just slammed the Taker. But yeah,
Well,
that's my entrance
there
pick.
was. Yeah. Well, there
There are
was
very
the
few.
Mark Henry casket match in 22, right?
Yeah, there were a few instances na no. I was talking about like few instances he was out of PPV. He was wrestling not in a weekly show. Kasi it was so rare, diba?
Yeah, yeah. Yung parang usually
There
kasi
was
ginagawa nila, one-on-one with the Undertaker, but it's a super short
yeah,
match.
yeah. But the thing was, I think I know it was mostly for Taker's health more than the story, but the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah.
it added so much to the story because Undertaker is a character that has a mystique. So you don't regularly see him. So yun, it just it just adds to the mystery and the pressure to other wrestlers na, oh my god, I'm facing the Undertaker. How is he like, diba? I've never faced the Undertaker before. Shout out to guys like Edge and Batista who have never faced Undertaker before in a big main event match, diba? For the world title. So those things, anyway, those little elements I enjoyed about this, and Mania 21 was like the starting point for that run. And let's go to your pick, Steven. And it's Kazuchika Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 13.
Okay. So for context, Kazuchika Okada is maybe the greatest Japanese wrestler of one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time. He is
If he wins a few
famous
more
for his
heavyweight, if he
Rainmaker
wins a
gimmick,
few more world
wherein
titles, he's
yeah.
close.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I what makes him what makes his character so good is that his entire gimmick is based on making New Japan succeed. The the title of Rainmaker is that the maker to generate money, diba?
Yeah.
So so basically Okada as the Rainmaker wants to bring in more money for New Japan. So it was such a fun for New Japan. So for the longest time he was the champion, I'm gonna make it rain every time, blah blah. I'm in New Japan, I'll make it rain. Like that's the tagline. And then there's a year na Kazuchika Okada goes crazy after losing to Kenny Omega.
He just
So
two balloons
he loses
every
his mind.
entrances and wore pants.
Or he started wearing pants all of a sudden. And like, why are you wearing pants? That's not Okada. Okada always wears briefs. All of a sudden, it's like, why are you wearing this? And then he started dyeing his hair red. Some really weird colors. And like, man, you really he probably in the long term he probably abused his hair dye. Sadly, he's paying for it with as Derv mentioned before in um something about Okada hairline, tama ba? I remember Derv mentioning it na parang his hairline's
Yeah.
not as good anymore.
But yeah, I think
Parang
he's
ganun.
also in a phase of
Yeah. So
recovering his
anyway, the
hair.
entrance is
So pretty normal.
yeah. So as for the entrance itself, the reason why I wanted to talk about him wearing pants is because this entrance in a match against Jay White, the ultimate traitor of King, is that this was the first time in a full calendar year, I think,
Yeah.
that Kazuchika, no, not a full calendar year, a full like 7-8 months since we saw Kazuchika Okada wear the tights, the brief style
Trunks,
tights.
essentially.
So yeah, the trunks. So he was making his way down to the ring as usual, and then like all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, it's not the remix. Because I remember I was in the watch party, mini mics. This was I think the first or second NJPW watch party. I was at the front desk.
Second, I
So
think.
I anyway, yeah, first or second. Tapos I clearly remember people were saying, "Uy, hindi yung remix no nagplay." I'm pretty sure Derv was there too. I just didn't know who Derv was at the time. So um, the regular Rainmaker theme plays with the coin flip and everything, and then he gets to the ring, and then you see he's got the robes, he's got the usual necklace, the heavy necklace and all, and then he's got this little apron on his waist. Anong ginagawa niya sa apron na yun? And then all of a sudden, he removes the apron and it's his regular tights. And you can watch it on YouTube right now. Kazuchika Okada, action to Okada was amazing. We're cheering for Trunks. That's what made this entrance so big was that he just removed his apron to reveal his trunks.
Also worth noting that
Like that
the apron
that's like the
became like a
most
part of his entrance garb, right?
yes, yes, exactly. Yung parang the is if it is it pants, is it trunks? Parang naging gimmick talaga. So what made it so good was just the fact na he made people pay attention to his get up. Even though you're not care about his get up too much, you're supposed to care about his wrestling in New Japan. But nope, here comes Mr. Trunks after a whole year, nearly a whole year of not being um, champion. And then here comes JY to annoy him. But sadly Okada lost, but still one of the best entrances I've ever seen because everybody in Skinny Mike's was cheering their asses off for Trunks. That is it.
Yeah, you can't beat those trunks now. Anyway, next up, well, before we go to our number two entries, respectively, we go to talk about our little partners at Podmetrics. Steven.
Okay. So for Podmetrics, this is a podcast aggregating service. So it gathers Facebook, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. So it's easier for you to understand the statistics. So if you are new to podcasting, you can sign up at podmetrics.co, that's podmetrics.co, and use our code GEEKYJUANS and we get a small share, a small commission. So that is pretty much it for Podmetrics. So it's pretty amazing. Be fair, we've earned all right. We've earned some
Yeah,
pretty
and we
good
got the
money
data
naman.
we need, so no,
Yep,
really no problems at all.
no
We just
problems
enjoy
here.
using it. Yeah,
And
really.
that is it for Podmetrics.
Okay, now we go to our number two entries, and then after that, honorable mentions, and then we go to the main event of our stuff. So
Yes.
let's go and let's talk about my second favorite entrance in this top five of mine.
Oh,
This is CM Punk Money in the Bank 2011. This was okay. Um, this was post pipe bomb CM Punk. Okay. Okay, let's talk about CM Punk in the WWE before. He made his debut on ECW, on WWE ECW, and he was really good. I think he was one of the few guys in ECW that I rooted for because I was looking for guys to root for, new guys to see, like who do I see, and then I usually watch WWE WWE's version of ECW, and that's where I like really enjoyed Kofi Kingston and CM Punk, and I really rooted for them to go big when they moved to SmackDown
hmm.
or Raw. So thankfully I was proven right by for rooting for them because they made it naman. They made it. That's really awesome. And ayun. Um during that time when CM Punk finally moved away from ECW, he got a nice little run as World Heavyweight Champion. He beat Jeff Hardy. I think he also won the Money in the Back of twice at a couple of times. He had few big
Yeah, a
name
couple of
matches.
times.
Kaso there was a time na it was eventually dying out. He was thrown out of the mix. Then the pipe bomb happened where he talked about Ring
Yeah.
of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling in WWE, which was kind of weird.
Yep.
And help people find out about those promotions from the promotion that they didn't want
Yeah.
those promotions to mention on their programming anyway. So yun, eventually CM Punk had that pipe bomb, and months later we go to this WWE Championship match between John Cena and CM Punk, and Money in the Bank 2011 was in Chicago, and CM Punk's hometown is
Yes.
Chicago, and no, Chicago CM Punk doesn't mean Chicago made. It actually stands for Chick Magnet, and embarrassingly enough, that was his early gimmick. So, yeah, I mean, Chicago made. I mean, there are many theories to what CM Punk, but yeah, it was Chick Magnet raw from the beginning. So we're so sorry, but yeah.
We're so
Just to
sorry
say,
for ruining your imagination.
yeah, when CM Punk went out to the entrance ramp, the crowd was just I don't know, even before. the crowd, even before he went out to the rap, the crowd was just chanting CM Punk. We were just chanting his name. It was so loud. It was so loud that you know that the building was vibrating from just that from that buzz from chanting CM Punk's name. And then when he finally went out to Cult of Personality, I think this was the first times he used Cult of Personality, because I think this was his transition from moving away from that Kill Switch Engage song, which I really loved.
No,
I love
no,
that
no.
entrance. Anyway,
Wait, Jude. Sorry, Jude. Can I interrupt muna, Jude? Sorry.
yeah,
Hello. Okay.
yeah, he was.
So this was still Kill Switch Engaged, diba?
No, no, no. He used the no. I remember him using um the
Cult of
Cult of
Personality was
Personality at
when
this
he came
point.
back. Talaga?
Wait, let me
Wait, could you
check.
watch the video muna? Here's the irony. It's still in the WWE YouTube account despite the fact that they hate CM Punk.
Okay. Yeah, okay. This Fire Burns.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. This is why I love it pala.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
This
yeah.
Fire Burns
Yeah.
was my favorite CM Punk entrance, because Cult of Personality, I heard it before and I treat it as a separate song, and I found it weird
Yeah.
that it was an entrance theme to CM Punk. I mean, it fit with CM Punk's
Hmm.
because uh the band who sang Cult of Personality, Living Color, was pretty underrated rin, compared to other rock acts. But yeah, this was no, this was like the crowd was just buzzing. Everyone, it was just so, when CM Punk walked in the ramp, he was just soaking it in before he even walked further. Kasi I think he couldn't even believe it. Kasi, like, imagine he came from ROH. He came from
Hmm.
IWA Mid South, indie crowds, small indie crowds, and eventually, his popularity grew and grew. Diba? He was white hot in Ring of Honor when it was Summer of Punk. Diba? He was threatening to
Yeah.
carry the Ring of Honor title to WWE.
Yeah.
And, only Samoa Joe was able to stop him from doing that. So, like, that was crazy. And now he's in his first big match, really, really big match in WWE, and it's in his hometown in front of a crowd that probably saw him wrestle wrestle there in the indies. So that was like
Yeah.
magic. And what I loved was, I think Michael Cole tried to say that it was a partisan crowd, and then Jerry Lawler just went, "How partisan? Do you hear these guys?" And then he went like, he described the noise was like if the Chicago Bears were in Chicago and they were hosting the Super Bowl. So like that
Hmm.
was it. That was how big it was, because CM Punk was really no was so big at that time. And yeah, it was one of my favorite wrestling entrances of all time, and until now I still mention it. So yeah, now we go to your entrance, second best, Steven, and that is
Okay.
Jay White in G1 Climax 29 in the finale match.
Okay. Yeah. So in G1 Climax 29, Jay White was going to face Kota Ibushi in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest, this was, I think, Jay White's first G1 as like the Bullet Club, I think. Tama ba? Like first legit like G1 as a full blown like New Japan star na talaga. And I the entrance left me speechless. It was on the same day that Katsuyori Shibata decided to attack Kenta. I think our friends Shane and Ria were in final. They saw Shibata attack Kenta
Uh-huh.
a few matches back.
Hit him
And
with a
then,
corner drop kick. That was fun.
yes, the iconic corner dropkick that now Carl Fredericks uses as well. Um, it really left me speechless because this was the most united Bullet Club that I saw in nearly 2 years. Kasi for the longest time, di ba, the Elite, yung kay Kenny, Bullet Club Elite na
There was
era.
a civil war in a way before that.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Tapos, Tapos, here comes Jay White, new leader of Bullet Club, the actual Bullet Club. Akala mo, okay, he's gonna be accompanied by Gedo because, Gedo's the booker and everything, so you have a reason to hate him. Tapos, all of a sudden, Jay White stops midway through the ramp, points to the back, and then the entire Bullet Club comes out in the most. It just felt right. It just felt like it was like it's like a parang back. Oh god, I hate saying this term back to normal kasi we were in the um but back to normal yung Bullet Club nung time na yon, and it felt perfect kasi nga Bullet Club was pretty much back to its roots, and that's what Jay White did. All of Bullet Club was there. Kenta was there. God was there. Fale was there. It's like everybody was there. It just showed how united Bullet Club is. And then COVID happened, so I don't want to say much anymore because we don't know what's gonna happen with Evil. Yeah, Jay White's entrance was so epic because it showed how united Bullet Club was. And then you had Kota Ibushi on the other end of the ring. Mag-isa lang siya. Mag-isa lang siya. And it's like, oh, no Kenny for you. It's like, allow me, a part of me wanted Kenny to just be on his side. Just to show na, hey, I'm here for my boyfriend or like partner, however you call him. There. I'm there to protect him. But, he was busy becoming a jerk in AEW. So, yeah. That's my pick for my second to last pick because Jay White is such a fun wrestler to watch now. And he honestly is going to be a staple of New Japan for many years to come.
Nice, nice. Okay, we go to, and that's pretty much our second favorite entrances, and then we go to our number. We before we go to our number one, we talk about our honorable mentions. So we talk about we talk about our honorable mentions first, and then but before that we thought you guys should visit the geekyones.com. So apart from our podcast, we have a blog site where we talk about
Woo!
various topics related to episodes and even the ones that are not. So we recently reviewed the Real Me Watch 2, so that was really
Mm-hmm.
cool. We got to try it out. I got to wear it around, and it was fun. And you also talked about Back for Blood's open beta. So um, Back for Blood is available for open beta until August 16th. So you better catch that before before it ends. And it's a really
Mm-hmm.
good game, and I have my thoughts on it on our blog. And I also talked about five favorite video game remakes, which is related to our to
Yes.
last week's episode. And yeah, take a look at our site. We have lots of awesome geeky content. I have a few Gundam posts there, here and there, and yeah, it's really awesome. So check that out if you have time, or in between watching our episodes. But now we
Yep.
go to our honorable mentions. Okay, this is kind of related to my number one, Steven, and this is Tetsuya Naito's
All
Wrestle
right.
Kingdom 14 entrance. And the reason I'm not putting this on my top five, it was so close. It was really close. This is one of the closest entrances that went to the top five, and it was. But yeah, in the end, Naito. This is a culmination of Naito's journey from being shunned away from the main event and losing to Okada painfully multiple times. I think twice when he lost the IWGP Heavyweight title, and when he lost to Naito for the title in Wrestle Kingdom Wrestle Kingdom 12. It was one of the most painful matches, and whenever you mention it, it's always painful, it's always sad. But yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 14, he hopes to make it different, and he went full spectacular with his entrance, and he went for an all white suit getup, and just with the Stardust team blaring in Tokyo Dome. It was just really fun. It was just really cool to see him walk the ramp slowly, and and just face his past, confront his rival, face his past, and accept accept the past to help him win and help him succeed in this match. And later on we find out that he did, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see Tetsuya Naito just walk in Wrestle Kingdom 14, and from that entrance to the moment he won was just magical, and we enjoy it. And I think I watched it again without tearing up, and it was really one of the best matches of 2020. So yeah, awesome pre-pandemic match right there. Yeah. So yes, hello Steven. So we move on to your entry now. We move on to
Okay.
my entry. Okay, okay. Um,
Yes, let's keep going with yours.
okay, my entry is next up is Batista in WrestleMania 23. So this was against the Undertaker. So I remember saying um I remember saying I know Batista was gonna lose because there's no way that they're gonna drop the streak to Batista. Like even I knew, but what I loved about this entrance because it was Batista's. I know he beat Triple H, but for me this was like one of his bigger matches. Like it was the Undertaker. It was against the streak versus world title, diba? You end the streak
Yeah.
or a Taker wins the title. So like it was so good, and it was just before he went to his full pyro show in his entrance, he just went from one end of the entrance set to the other, just just riding up the crowd, just saying hi, just taking it in. And then
Seeing.
when he went to the middle, it was just his usual pyro explosion, which was whenever he does it in Mania, it's always one of the best. And I'm happy na when he was the Animal Batista, he never changed his team. I'm so happy that he never did. Because even though he was a heel, you still cheer for that song. You still love that song.
You
Because you'll
definitely,
never get tired of
definitely.
hearing it. And you never get tired of seeing the freaking pyro. And my last entrance is Sandman from ECW One Night Stand. So 2005. So this
Oh.
was the main event. This was the main event of ECW One Night Stand. It was the Dudley Boys versus Tommy Dreamer and Sandman. And Dudley Boys went out with their usual entrance, diba? Usual entrance. And Tommy Dreamer went out with his Heart and Soul of ECW and all. I think they used Man in the Box. I forget if they used Man in the Box for 2005. I hope they did for Tommy Dreamer. Because ECW used actual 90s music
Hmm.
for their entrances. Kasi they can no longer broadcast that kasi that's a copyright strike for them. So for Sandman, his music was Metallica's Enter Sandman. It was spectacular to hear. And in 2005, it the ECW One Night Stand, the crowd there was old school hardcore ECW, and they really missed the event. They really missed the time. They really just missed ECW because it was out for 4 years now by the time it was gone. So when they heard Enter Sandman's intro just um starting up, they were just hot. They were just wild and shouting, and they were singing along to the entire song, all too out, while Sandman walks to the crowd, point, points to the WWE guys watching, and makes himself bleed before the match even started by slamming a beer can to his head, among many things. But yeah, it was one of the loudest entrances in of that decade. It was one of the crazier ones too, and yeah, this was I just really this was one of the more spectacular entrances. And it didn't need to have pyro, didn't need to have flash states. It just needed the power of the crowd. And I think A lot of our entrances have that. So have a huge, just need a huge pop and a great team. So yeah. But then before we go to Steven's entries, we can talk about this little hashtag, Steven. Let's go.
All right. So we had this little hashtag that we're trying to run called hashtag SuanX the Geeky Ones because for context, one of our best the weather. So we are trying to get Susan to talk about, Kado weather and other things in her acting wide acting portfolio. So yeah, it would be cool to like if you guys can help us get this hashtag trending 100 and maybe we can get Sue Ramirez on episode 100 of the Geeky Ones. So that's
Awesome, awesome. Okay, now we move on to your honorable mention, Steven. And this one is pretty cool. Kurt Angle and the Shield. This is the Shield with Tito Kurt, essentially.
Tito Kurt. So okay, so for context, I think Roman Reigns was sick at the time, so he couldn't this was like Shield
Yeah,
reunion
he was.
2.0, diba? Yeah.
Mhm.
So Roman Reigns was sick and they needed somebody to fill in for Roman Reigns because you had this whole Shield reunion made up and everything, but none of the Shield could stay healthy. So what they did was they got Kurt Angle to dress up as a member of the Shield in the most pa-cool Tito way, like how Naito dresses
Yeah,
up in no, not Naito. Basically, if you have a Tito who's like dressing up in like tight jeans and tight fitting shirts and ultra boosts and whatever you call them, like Apple Watch and everything. It's like your uncle trying to stay hip. That's basically the Shield's entrance. I don't even care what event it was. It was just so hilarious because it was so good. It was so out there. And it's a perfect fit for Kurt Angle kasi nga, he doesn't take himself seriously. So, okay lang siyang make fun of himself, mga ganun. So, this was perfectly in Kurt Angle's realm of comedy. And I loved it because it was so fun because they went through the crowd. Kurt Angle as a member of the Shield going through the crowd. It's a fan to do that with the Shield, diba? Who wouldn't want to go through the crowd with
you can
them?
never
Diba?
unsee Kurt Angle in his
Never
Shield get up
unsee.
because
Never unsee.
yeah, you can never unsee that. Still cool. Really fun. And
Mm.
next one is John Cena's Money in the Bank 2021 return.
Okay. So I don't need to explain any too much context because John's out of WWE for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been a large gap missing in WWE, which is kind of sad because it just goes to shows that WWE has not been building stars. But anyway, besides the point, we didn't expect nobody, and I mean nobody. Ako personally, I didn't know that John Cena would suddenly appear at the end of the match. Kasi nga, diba? Oh, Roman Reigns defeats another wrestler. And then, oh shit, the music starts playing. The music is just like that little. What is it? Is it a horn? Like some sort of horn or something? I don't know what device
Trumpet,
it
I
is. Do
think.
you know what?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Trumpet. I think it was a trumpet.
Yeah, like some sort of trumpet. And then just, you hear that. And then the whole arena just starts shaking. And then it's like, Michael Cole was losing his mind. And then when he said, Cena's here, Pat McAfee goes, where? it was so perfect kasi it's just so it's such a perfect it's just so perfect. Words cannot describe how good this entry was. Kahit alam mo I mean, they just did it so well. And then the funny thing is, a week before was Impact Slammiversary. Jay White was the surprise and appearance at the end of Slammiversary. but they couldn't cut on time. They couldn't show off on time because all of a sudden here comes David Finlay by accident, like not missing his cue, but like he was way ahead of his cue to like appear and then attack Jay White. Sobrang aga niya. So I don't know if it was a technical mishap, but then 1 week later, Money in the Bank happens, and then you see how a proper close off entrance with John Cena and WWE's technical mastery. Na okay, you just see John Cena and Roman Reigns face off, and then that's it. Credits go, and you're done. You don't know what happens next. That gives WWE an exclusive for YouTube. Impact could have done it, but anyway, that's besides the point. Watch what John Cena was going to say. So that's how epic this entrance was. You haven't seen John Cena in 2 years. Everybody was freaking out. So you wanted to watch more, diba? So that's pretty much why I'm including this in my honorable mentions, because it was so good. Everybody was freaking out. The commentators were freaking out. The fans were freaking out. Even the cameraman who John Cena usually likes to talk to before entering the ring was there. It's insanity. It's insanity. Anyway, let's move on to my last honorable mention.
Oh, this is another Impact Wrestling one. AJ Styles joins the TNA frontline on August 13th. On August 2013 show.
Wait.
Okay.
Yes. So during this time, TNA was recycling the old Sting gimmick, except that they put AJ on it. Maybe because Sting said, hey, we need to give AJ something to revive his career or something. Pero basically, it was the era of Eric Bischoff recycling stories. So, instead of duo, it was Aces and Eights. Instead of Sting joining the NWO, it was
Aces
AJ
and Eights
Styles.
was so weird. Because
Yes.
they tried, it's like they kept on unlocking every new member of Aces and Eights. Who's behind this mask? It's like Scooby-Doo, except it's Sons of Anarchy.
That's the perfect description.
If Scooby-Doo and Sons of Anarchy had a little weird child, that's Aces and Eights.
Oh my god. Yeah. So for the longest time, in August 20, in this specific episode of Impact, the front line, which had like sino ba? Sting, Kazarian, Daniels, Joe, like basically the TNA OGs. And I consider Sting a TNA OG because he may not have been there since day one, but he was there to like help elevate TNA. So I loved it seeing him there. So this happened in Norfolk, Virginia, where the DX invasion happened. But that's besides the point. AJ Styles comes in with his own very ominous entrance, very like ominous country rock entrance. And then he was just walking out doing his very slow Sting walk. And he puts his head down, hood over his head. And then suddenly the music stops because this is very unusual music for AJ Styles. And then all of a sudden, you know how you get super geek out over like wrestling entrance music? And then like the first two drum beats of AJ Styles Get Ready to Fly theme plays. And then you're like, oh my god, it's the phenomenal AJ Styles. So it's like parang si Sting biglang naging Surfer Sting ulit.
Yeah. It felt like 2005 all over again for AJ Styles.
Surfer Sting.
But yeah, really awesome.
Yes. It felt like 2005 all over when that happened because I think the gimmick was Get Ready to Fly for the longest time. So this was huge. And then when they heard that again, Mike Tenay was freaking out, Taz was freaking out, the entire crowd of Norfolk, Virginia was freaking out. And then the brawl happens is like is so epic. It's parang nothing really happened. They just had a brawl, so nothing of relevant anything happened. But in nga, um, I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, the phenomenal one came back and helped the front eights. So that's how it ended, and that is my last honorable mention because there really isn't much that happened after.
Yeah. Okay, before we go to our number one entries, we like to talk about our new podcast called Evolving Backwards. And we just
Yes.
recently recorded episode 2 titled Run It Back. And our question for that episode is, if you guys had a time machine, would you turn back time and fix things in your past? So, yeah. This is coming soon. I think this is coming upcoming week. I guess this is gonna be released in the upcoming week, and so for those who listened to episode 1, thank you so much. We reached 100 listens for that one, and that was really awesome. And hope to keep it going, and we hope to keep more episodes going regularly. I mean, this is like our relief podcast from our usual geeky ones and wrestling stuff. So it's a really awesome podcast, and it's a slice of life podcast. So we make sure that our questions are something that you can relate to as well. So we go to our number one. So first off is my number one pick for favorite wrestling entrance in this top five, and it is Kazuchika Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 14. The reason I put Naito's entrance on an honorable mention is that it was good, but Kazuchika Okada was the final boss of New Japan during that time, and it was. I think it is the last time. This is the last time he was so far, right? Because he has not been a
Mm,
final boss for the past few years. But yeah, um,
that's right.
Kazuchika Okada was the final boss, and he just went. Moneymaker entrances in Wrestle Kingdom are really epic, always good. Some always has a surprise. Like it's whether he is having a trunks reveal or dropping Okada bucks from the roof of the Tokyo Dome. Um,
Mm.
it's always a treat. But for this time, it was Nissan Cup Noodle Okada for this one. This is Go in the Dark
Yes,
Nissan Cup
yes.
Noodle Okada. It was good because he didn't need that much stuff. I think he just had an awesome Titantron entrance, and he just walked walked while his entire robe was shining, and that's spectacular because you
Yeah.
whenever you think of Japanese wrestling and Japanese wrestling legends and champions, they always have this awesome getup. They always have an awesome coat or robe that just screams boss battle. And this is Tetsuya Naito's boss battle. He needs to beat Okada, or else his legacy wouldn't be fulfilled. His destino would never be fulfilled. And what a way to show that you have to beat me, and you have to show what a way to show that Okada is at his peak of his powers at that time. This was like Okada finally winning back the IWGP title and carrying the company again. And now he has to face one of his greatest rivals in Tetsuya Naito. And that was really awesome. And I love that he kept on using that white robe. We call it Nissan Cup Noodle because it kind of looks like it. The design, the red, and no. I think he also has a blue variation, which is also really cool. So recently used that.
Mm.
That was spectacular. But hey, we go to your number one entry, Steven, and it is Shinsuke Nakamura's SmackDown debut.
Okay. If there is one entrance that I want to see live, it's Shinsuke Nakamura's. We got the chance to see it in SmackDown 2019 in Araneta Coliseum. It
Yeah, we
was
got to see it
fun.
naman,
It was
diba?
amazing. Yeah, diba? And then the sad this was heel Nakamura in 2019, so we didn't get the
Yeah, I
chance
mean,
to go
we could
full
have
on
had
cheering, diba?
we could have had the cooler version, but hey, hearing Nakamura's entrance live is still a treat. So that was really awesome.
All right. So I would have wanted to see like the good guy version of Nakamura like do an entrance because it's so much more epic. They're instrumental. There's no random Japanese rapping, but like something magical about Shinsuke Nakamura's WWE entrance music. Is it as good as his NJPW entrance?
It's
Debatable,
hard. It's
debatable
hard.
for me.
I always think
Yeah,
about that, Steven.
yeah. Di ba? Ang hirap. Ang hirap. So, um, I think the weekend before this was Shinsuke Nakamura's last NXT takeover. And then knew na okay, it's time. Shinsuke is getting called up. Like everybody in NXT knew already na it's gonna be time na. So what happens?
As if the violin
And
wasn't a signal enough, right?
di ba? The guy in the violin, like the violin came out kasi, di ba, it was just a usual Miz and Maurice promo as John Cena and Nikki Bella. We know where that relationship went. Um, somebody's bitter. Um, the guy in the violin comes out and has his long violin solo. And then suddenly the entire crowd just stands up. Ends up in like everyone's like wondering what's happening. Like, okay, the general WWE universe did not know how good Nakamura was, but the best part about these post WrestleMania shows is that these are filled with smarky, internet reading fans. So they knew who Shinsuke Nakamura exactly was. When that violin, and then you could hear like the build up to Nakamura's theme, the entire exploded like no other
Mhm.
arena I've seen. It just exploded like that. And then everyone in the arena started like Nakamura's theme song. A song with no lyrics becomes one of the most iconic themes in WWE.
The most
Like,
Japanese sounding entrance theme for WWE as well, you know.
yes, yes, yes.
I mean, okay,
It,
I think what I loved about Rising Sun is that it sounded Japanese while still not sounding stereotypical. Because WWE does that, right?
mm,
It was so respectful to Shinsuke's Japanese past, while still, helping him
yeah,
give a banger of a theme for his WWE run. Until now,
exactly,
we still have it.
exactly. That's what makes it so good. Tapos, ayun, like he didn't even say a single word, but everybody was like got his energy kaagad.
I
Like I
think
don't
he
know,
was he
maybe it's
debuted
the
and the
entrance
Miz
music,
was
maybe it's the
there.
entrance. Yeah, the Miz there. So parang I think the Miz being the bad guy really helped like balance out Shinsuke Nakamura's like good guy level of like power. So it's insane. The entrance was so insane. Like you really have to watch it just to see how much people were hyping Shinsuke Nakamura, and it is a crime that Nakamura has not won the at least once or the Universal Championship since he's on SmackDown now.
Yeah,
Sayang.
but hey, he's there with he's now a three-time Intercontinental Champion right now. So he stole the crown
Yeah,
from Baron Corbin and turned Baron Corbin broke and I think homeless maybe
yeah.
at this
Best
point.
best Baron storyline ever for me.
And despite him being broke, he can still he I think I would love to see him wrestle broke as well.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? But he still wrestles like his usual self anyway.
yeah.
That's
So we'll see.
our entries, though. That's really awesome. And those are 10 epic entrances and some honorable mentions. And uh, Angelo from the MTG Show podcast Also mentioned Jeff Jarrett and Sandman entrances. So yeah, I did mention the Sandman entrance in ECW One Night Stand. I'm not sure which Jeff Jarrett entrance you're talking about, but yeah, Jeff Jarrett on TNA. He had creative
Yeah.
control. Of course, he has a spectacular freaking entrance. He already has the NWA title around his belt waist for like a long time.
Yep. Yep.
During that time, he was there. He was there. Triple H. So anyway,
With less
um,
talent, with lesser level of. Well, actually, no. I think Jeff Jarrett's a good technical wrestler. It's just that his
at the
mic
time,
work
because
is
he was,
best.
I think he was getting up there in age, so his wrestling wasn't
Yeah,
as
yeah,
wasn't that much. He had to rely on being a freaking heel, so he had the guitar every time, ba? And he had his
yeah.
faction. He had a faction with him all most of the time. Kaya, I mean, usual
Planet Jarrett.
heel, yeah, heel shtick of having people insurance policies all around your
Yeah.
side. So that's why for me Christian Cage beating Jeff Jarrett was still spectacular, despite na it was another old former WWE guy TNA thing. But ano, and by the way, shout congratulations to Christian for becoming Impact World Champion for the first time,
Woo.
and
Yes,
being the
first
third
time.
and winning and becoming the world champion for a third time. So like that's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
He loves
yeah.
Impact Wrestling kasi it gave Impact Wrestling gave him like the platform to prove that he can be a guy who can carry a company. So that was awesome.
That is
Anyway,
true.
before we end this episode, you can find the Geeky Ones podcast, the audio version of this episode, on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. We actually have like nine, if I recall, seeing. Kind
Yeah,
of
it's a lot.
surprised.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but hey, you can also check out our replays on YouTube, on Twitch, and of course, on Facebook, where most of you are watching. So I think, of course, on Twitch you won't be able to see it until after a certain time frame. You can just take a look at our YouTube channel and Facebook to see a replay of those. So that's really awesome. Now, for social media, we are at the Geeky Ones on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can check out our content. We do live tweets. We do episode announcements on all accounts. We make sure just keep us on your notice, and we'll keep the episodes rolling, and that's really awesome. And yeah, thank you for those who are watching and commenting. Really awesome time. And once again, this is episode 86, and thank you so much. um, we are the geeky ones, and we'll see you next episode. So bye, guys.
Bye.